What's up, everybody? How we doing on this fine hump day? Let's see, February 28th, 2024. Normally, this is the last day of February, but guess what? This year is the year of extra opportunity. So we got another day to make money in February, another day to make February a great month, right? You could have 28 bad days and then the year throws you an extra day, and that 29th day ends up being so great that it just completely overwhelms all the negative sentiment you had for those previous bad days. And that's what can happen, right? So make sure that you keep the door open for that. That you keep the opportunity alive for that. And I'm excited to finish February strong, right? We've got some data here this morning in the market that we're going to look into, but we've got 1, 2, 3 days full of market opportunity to take advantage of, right? The majority of the week still remains ahead. That's what you always have to remind yourself whenever you say, oh, I didn't have the best Monday or the best Tuesday, right? I'm giving you the exact same speech. You still have the majority of the week ahead of you, right? And you still got Saturday, right? The market might not be open, but you still have a day to close those gaps when it comes to, your spiritual health, your physical health, right? You've got extra days to get that done. So focus on that. Focus on what you have in front of you. We've got the majority of the year in front of us. And so far, you guys that have been here and been here consistently, you have already put in 2 full months of closing the gap between where you are and where you want to be, right? Operating in consistency, learning, growing. And it'll pay off, right? It'll compound. It already has, and it'll continue to manifest. And I'm happy that I can have you guys along with me, right, for this ride to help keep me accountable as well. Because there's days when I don't feel like getting up and doing this, right? Didn't this morning. Woke up and whatever bug is going around definitely got me. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, I do not feel like doing this. But I was like, nope. I got my people with me, right? We're pushing, we're moving. And that's what keeps me going, right? That's what keeps me going even on the days it's like, maybe I won't, right? If you can gather the strength, you can pop some Tylenol, you can make it happen. Cool. Yes, there's time for rest, but overall, right, you want to make sure that if you can put in that time, if you can put in that work, if you can put in that effort, you do, because that's how you get the results that you want. And if you aren't willing to do that, you don't really want it as much as you thought you did, right? It's like anybody that comes and they say, "Hey, it's like I don't know, like a woman that you love, right? If you really love her, if you really care about her, then you don't just let, oh, I'm scared to go up and talk to her, or oh, like I'm scared that she'll reject me, or oh, you don't let that stop you, right? If you do, you didn't really want her, right? Same thing with food, right? I don't know if you guys have ever been in like a mode where you're like, bro, like one morning I woke up and I needed a biscuit. I was like, bro, I need a biscuit. McDonald's was not delivering, right? The breakfast time had passed. I went there in person to ask if they had anything left over for breakfast. They didn't. So I go and I'm looking on DoorDash. I'm like, where can I get a biscuit? They had a Rise biscuits like 30 minutes away. I was like, I don't care. I want a biscuit. I'm going to get a biscuit. So I drove that half an hour, get my biscuit meal. I come back home. I eat my meal. All in all, spent like an hour and a half chasing down these biscuits. But what did I do? Anything necessary to get those biscuits, right? So people, you might come and say, Adam, I want to learn how to work in markets, or, I want to learn how to do options, or I want to learn more about stocks. But then that first little bit of friction, you're like, well, I tried. You didn't want it, right? You didn't really want it like Adam wanted those biscuits, right? So every morning that you wake up, you want to say, I want it like he wanted them biscuits, right? I want it like, I don't even know, Augustus Gloop from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I want it like he wanted that chocolate, right? So much that he got sucked up in the tube and never heard from again. That's how badly he wanted it. That's how you have to want what's meant for you, right? That's how you have to want what you want to accomplish. You can't just say, oh, this might be uncomfortable for me. That's not for me. No, what's for you probably is uncomfortable. What's for you probably will stretch you. What's for you probably will take you outside of your comfort zone, right? Everything that was for anyone did do that exact same thing for them. Doesn't matter if it's Steve Harvey, Oprah, The Rock, Joseph from the Bible, right? David from the Bible, literally anyone, right? You were stretched. You were stretched. You weren't comfortable. So get comfortable being uncomfortable, because you will remain unfulfilled and uncomfortable if you stay in that spot that you're in, knowing that you're not supposed to be there, right? And if you give up at the first sign of friction, oh, I don't know if I can afford this right now. I don't know if I have the time for this right now. You got the time and you got the money, right? And you also have to reach out to see if you can make it work if you have the time or if you have the money, right? Everything now that I'm trying to do, I don't have the time to do this. Well, do I actually, right? If I wake up at 6:15, I probably have the time to do it. If I wake up at 4 a.m., I probably have the time to do it, right? So you got to do that that bargain with yourself and take the box off, because once you restrict yourself, no, you can't do it, right? But once you remove a lot of the self-imposed barriers that you have to your own success, you realize, oh wow, I can actually do a lot more than I thought, right? I can actually afford a lot more than I thought, in terms of time, in terms of energy, in terms of money, because what I'm doing is fueling me, right? um, so just something put on my heart to talk about this morning is that at the end of the day, if you decide to give up easily, right, or at the first sign of friction, or at the first blockade, you didn't want it bad enough. So you got to look at yourself and say, do I really want this, or can I just turn away from it and say, hey, I'm fine with being where I'm at? And either one is fine, but you need that resolution. Otherwise, you sit in this feeling of angst and anxiety, and it breeds resentment, and you live an unhappy life, right? So I don't want anything in my life that has me breeding resentment. I want to make sure that I'm living a fulfilled life, and that I'm living a positive one, because that allows me to move forward and count my days in a good way. So let's dive into what we got going on this morning. You guys on your end, make sure you're here with intention. So throw that one in the chat signifying your intention to get 1% better by the end of this session, right? We're looking at each and every day. So throw those ones in the comments, and let's dive into our top news here. No contract, no beer. So we're already on the turn up wave this morning. Industrial action is returning to the forefront, I believe they wanted to say, after historic strikes in 2023 that threatened to upend large swaths of the economy. Among those involved were the Pilots Association at major airlines like American Airlines and Southwest, the Teamsters Union at CPS, Workers United at Starbucks, and the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers at Spirit Aerosystems. Don't forget the damaging walkouts that plagued Hollywood, with both writers and actors conducting a historic double strike, as well as the unrest at the United Auto Workers Union, which saw staff at Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis join the picket lines. That's crazy, because throw a 3 in the chat if you were here when this is the exact stuff that I talked about, right? Years ago, was becoming a prevailing trend and how we'd see more of it. You just got to run down on exactly how much of it we saw last year, right? It's crazy how much you can predict when you just keep your ears to the streets and keep your thumb on the pulse of what's going on in this country. Because we had, historic strikes, walkouts that we've never had before. When has Hollywood gone on strike? I don't remember, not in my lifetime, right? You have all this stuff that happens that can't be foreseen, but it can, right? It can if you're paying attention. And that's the amazing thing about living in a way that you're taking inventory of what's happening in the world around you, actively doing so. Up next, things are getting hoppy at Anheuser-Busch InBev, ticker Bud, with more than a quarter of its workforce, or 5,000 employees, threatening to walk off the job at 12 breweries across the country. Quote, without a contract by February 29th, there won't be any beer come March. Wow. Warned the Teamsters Union, which is fighting for substantial wage increases, job security, and other benefits. It was only a week ago that 400 Teamsters members went on strike at Molson Coors, whose ticker is TAP Brewery in Fort Worth, Texas, meaning workers could soon walk out at the nation's largest beer makers. AB InBev is being extra mindful due to the long recovery that followed the Dylan Mulvaney controversy last April. The marketing campaign involving the transgender influencer prompted a backlash and boycott that led to Modelo Especial supplanting Bud Light's top spot in the U.S. beer market. And Bud's stock price has only recently returned to its previous levels. While securing a contract with organized labor remains a top priority, Anheuser-Busch has outlined a continuity plan and precautionary measures that could see beer making outsourced to other facilities if necessary. In terms of like a thought bubble here, conditions are ripe for discontent, as wages in many industries have not kept up with the pace of inflation and rising cost of living. At the same time, record sales and profits have been seen at the biggest of brewers. That's prompted both AB InBev and Coors to announce billion-dollar stock buybacks to please Wall Street, though the announcements have only made more employees feel left out of their fair share. Forcing companies to the bargaining table last year also resulted in strong deals with better working terms and conditions, especially when backed by a U.S. administration that calls itself the, quote, most pro-union in American history. So, yeah, the unionization trend continues. It's been going strong for 2 years now, and it really picked up steam last year. And the reason why, a big contributing factor to that is AI, is artificial intelligence. People see how far this is coming. Robotics is coming along with it, right? And it's one of those things where everybody's like, I need to secure my rights now. You saw it in Hollywood. They did a strike then because they knew what was coming, right? You guys all saw the info about Tyler Perry and how he was, building this huge studio, and then he held off when he saw, OpenAI show Sora, right, which is their text to video AI model, right? He literally was building. He was about to put tens of millions of dollars into a studio, right? Probably hundreds of millions of dollars over the course of the next few years, and then literally stopped that, right? And it's nothing against him, but it probably would have created a ton of jobs. And he's like, wait, I don't even know if I need this anymore, right? So that's why a lot of this unionization is continuing, and why it will probably only ramp up as time goes on, is because everybody's looking around like, holy crap, this is developing a lot faster than we thought. And unless we get a deal in place now, right, a contracted deal in place, right, we could be out of work in the next year and a half, 2 years. So that's why you're seeing this trend, and I think that it'll only continue as time goes on here, and as AI especially gets more advanced. Needed some ginger tea this morning. So, automotive news slamming the brakes. Apple has reportedly canceled work on its electric vehicle initiative, Project Titan, and shifted some of the employees on generative artificial intelligence. It comes amid rising costs and competition that has worried many automakers, as detailed in Wall Street Breakfast Winning the Race. Apple had spent billions of dollars on Project Titan, something the CEO Tim Cook once called the mother of all AI projects. The iCar was initially rumored to be fully autonomous, but eventually dramatically to level 2 plus from level 4, which Seeking Alpha analyst Arne Verheide said was a massive setback in the already highly saturated market. Yeah, this was great news for Apple and great news for Apple shareholders. Apple had to do something. We've been in this weekly bear flag pattern here for a number of weeks on Apple. Apple has been very weak, especially relative to the rest of the market, and it was approaching a level where we could break out to the downside if Apple didn't drop some major news or some major announcement or some major initiative, and that came in the form of this news, right? So these companies have people that read charts, right? They have people that watch just like we do, right, for these technical events and things like that. So that's how you get your leg up. You're not lucky by getting lucky. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. It's not having a rabbit's foot or four-leaf clover. If you can read the charts, you can identify oftentimes where companies are going to come out with news that will make a difference in their stock price, right, and change trends that could currently be in place. Wink, wink, right, when it comes to Apple. So we'll see if that causes Apple to break this daily downtrend that it's been in, and Apple to stretch its legs, right, and make us some money on the way back up. So make sure you got an eye out for Apple. That was very impactful news that shareholders liked. And we got to break a little downtrend to get there, which is why it's important to know how to read charts, because we might not break it, right? Maybe we don't break it, and you're just sitting there and you got to play Russian roulette and you have no idea, then you end up getting screwed. Know for sure. Learn how to read charts. Email me, adam@adamhollandeducates.com. Get involved, right? It's as simple as that. Send one email, get started on the path, get involved. We got resources for everybody at every single price point. So don't let that stop you. You got the time, you got the money. All you need to do is take the step, because action is contagious, right? Very, very contagious. Once you start winning, tough to stop. In terms of defense here, wider war as Russia's invasion of Ukraine enters the third year. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the region should prepare for wider war and consider using windfall profits from frozen Russian assets to buy weapons for Ukraine. Quote, we need to move fast, she warned, while U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen called on the G7 coalition to unlock $285 billion in frozen Russian assets to support Kiev. Elsewhere, Germany asserted that European countries would not send troops to Ukraine after French President Emmanuel Macron previously said that the option had not been ruled out. In response, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov warned that sending troops would lead to a direct confrontation. So this war that we anticipated would be longer than expected has been 3 years going, and now it's not like we have any type of de-escalation on the horizon. We're only talking about buying more weapons, and there's even rhetoric about other countries sending troops. So, Macron says it's not ruled out. Germany says that's ruled out for us. Yeah, I mean it's a crap storm, right? For lack of better terms. So something that you continue to keep an eye on, will keep an eye on, but it's not slowing down. Not slowing down, and it looks like it'll continue to be here. On the move, shorts get torched. Beyond Meat ripped 73.5% higher after hours on Wednesday after reporting better than expected Q4 earnings, as strong international sales more than made up for weak U.S. demand. CEO Ethan Brown noted that in 2024, the firm plans to steadily reduce operating costs and cash use while employing pricing actions and right sizing of its production footprint to support margin expansion. The plan also includes a core platform renovation in Beyond 4 and certain non-cash charges related to inventory and assets that are no longer consistent with its path to profitability. Woo! Straight mouth breather today. As my nose is more clogged than 495 around this time. While Beyond traded in double digits for the first time this year, that's wild. Short interest on the stock was close to 40%, which likely contributed to the big swing. Let's see here. In terms of today's markets, this has all changed because we got PCE data here that came out around 8:30. So that PCE data, based off of how we reacted, I'm anticipating is good data. Right. So we can pop in here and see exactly what it's looking like. But based off of how the market's reacting, we got a little pop. And basically, what we're looking now is for SPY to break that downtrend. That's the big thing. We're in a descending parallel channel that we identified yesterday on the hourly. Once we break that, downtrend resistance, we're off to the races again on SPY and on the market. So that is what is on the clock. We put in hammers on the daily chart yesterday on SPY, so we can see if we can follow that up by breaking yesterday's high. And if we do that, we'll likely break out of this channel and push on up, and there will be lots of money making opportunities on a number of different tickers all the way around the market. So make sure that you're involved in markets. Make sure that you're involved with the right community so that you can actually take advantage of opportunities like this, which are contingent upon that price action happening. You need the price action to happen. There's no guarantee that it happens. So you going out and making moves without knowing the full picture can get you really, really, really messed up, right? So don't be out here free balling, making moves, making guesses, because guess what? Even if you do hit something right, let's say you make $5,000 right now, that money is transitory. What do? Maybe you go on vacation, right? Maybe you do this, maybe you do that. But at the end of the day, a trip to, Aruba right now is not going to change the amount of fulfillment you had in your life or what you were able to do or produce or anything like that. One-offs are literally useless, right? Someone said, hey, you could learn how to make money for the rest of your life, or I could give you $20,000 right now. I would much rather me learn how to make money for the rest of my life than me get $20,000 right now. Because even if you go and you stick that in NVIDIA, that's not going to make crazy difference for you, right? As life goes on. You want to be able to make crazy, consistent difference for yourself. And that's what knowledge and the application of a great system does for you. Now, in terms of other data, we got GDP data as well. So GDP data 8:30. Check and see what else we got here. GDP data, I cannot answer that. GDP data 8:30. Let's see. All right. Checking in on these market updates. All right. Oh, Lord. Biden to deliver remarks on actions to fight crime at 1:30 p.m. So we can look forward to that. I don't think that'll affect markets at all. But US GDP annualized Q4 actual 3.2% previous versus 3.3 previous. Estimated was 3.3%. So we've got annualized GDP coming in slightly missing. And then US, which is, bearish, of course, GDP coming in slightly missing. And then US PCE prices 1.8% versus 2.6%. Estimated was 1.7%. So we had PCE, which is inflation, coming 0.1% hotter, right? A little bit hotter. So we could really in talks with Tesla and plan to attract new car makers. Some interesting data. But it looks like we came in a little bit hotter than expected on PCE data. Also a little bit lower than expected on GDP, both of which are bearish. So we spend a little bit more time possibly within this channel, right? This descending channel. But when we get to the bottom of that channel, we're looking to strike. So that's what I'm watching out for here today. And I invite the opportunity to be able to, position myself for even cheaper and act accordingly. So that pretty much wraps us up. We're going to finish up with our rapid fire stock news rundown, which actually is kicking off with some crypto news. Bitcoin soars to 2-year high as halving event looms. United Health, ticker UNH, falls on report of DOJ launching antitrust review. Meet the new Macy's, fewer stores and increased focus on luxury. Senator Elizabeth Warren says it's time to break up corporate giants. DIY demand slowdown, latest outlook from Lowe's disappoints. OpenAI asks judge to dismiss parts of New York Times lawsuit over alleged hack. JetBlue, ticker JBLU, and Spirit, ticker SAVE, flipped the script on competition argument. Then First Solar, ticker FSLR, surges after hours on earnings beat and upbeat outlook. eBay tops revenue and gross merchandise value expectations. And then WBD, Warner Bros. Discovery, is halting merger talks with Paramount. Another merger bites the dust. Am I surprised? Absolutely not. Right? Absolutely not. That's been the name of the game with these mergers here recently. They have not been coming through. So it's just another prevailing instance of a trend that we've been on top of, because that's what we do here in the stock options made easy community. We stay on top of what's going on. We leverage bankable opportunities, and we fold that into us pursuing purpose, pursuing fulfillment, and living a great life, because we only get one of them. Right. And speaking of one, you definitely got 1% better by being here for this session, investing in yourself. That always nets the biggest return. Let's go out there, finish this week strong. Have a great day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.